Guess who showed up to Capitol Hill yesterday? It was none other than the ghost of COVID past, our old friend, Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci sparred with GOP congressmen. Some of those debates were better than others. Fauci is nothing if not an extremely talented politician, which is why the best debate that came out of Fauci's testimony, and the most damaging for America's former top doctor, was not any debate between him and members of Congress, but rather it was the debates between Dr. Fauci today and the Dr. Fauci of 3 years ago who shut our country down. We will get into all the old conspiracy theories that have now come true. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. We have a really great show today because the great Roseanne Barr will be joining us in just a moment. First, though, we got to talk about Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Knowles. The cost of living is up almost 20% from 2021, and families everywhere are feeling the burden. If you're looking at your bills, wondering how in the world you can save on monthly expenses, start with your phone bill. I'm happy to announce that Pure Talk is now providing international roaming to over 50 countries. Once again, Pure Talk is investing in their customers with their own money and without charging you an extra penny. As you plan your summer travel, make sure your wireless provider has you covered at home and abroad. Pure Talk already puts you on America's most dependable 5G network. Enjoy the freedom of unlimited talk, text, and ample 5G data for just $20 a month with Pure Talk. This is a deal that is hard to beat, costing you less than half of what you'd pay with other networks. Not only is their U.S. customer service team ready to assist you with a seamless switch, but they also have fantastic savings on the latest iPhones and Androids. Are you ready to make a smart switch? Join my cell phone company, Pure Talk, and start saving today. puretalk.com/Knowles, Knowles, to explore their offers. When you make the switch, you will enjoy an additional 50% off your first month. Don't miss out on the opportunity to save on wireless at home and abroad. Visit puretalk.com/Knowles. That is puretalk.com/Knowles. Dr. Fauci. He made it to Capitol Hill. I will not go through the seemingly interminable testimony and all of the sparring with the congressman. Just a few highlights. Dr. Fauci was asked about the effectiveness of the vaccine to stop the transmission of COVID. Here is what he has to say today.
Did the COVID vaccine stop transmission of the virus?
That is a complicated issue because in the beginning, the first iteration of the vaccines did have an effect, not 100%, not a high effect. They did prevent infection and subsequently, obviously, transmission. However, it's important to point out something that we did not know early on that became evident as the months went by is that the durability of protection against infection and hence transmission was relatively limited.
Let me translate that for those of you who do not have any advanced degrees in biology or epidemiology. Blah, 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 filibuster. That's the precise semantic synonym of what Fauci just said. It's very complicated, okay? And you understand at the beginning it seemed one way, but then, and they were right, what they said was right, but the durability of the claims that they made was not, it was a bit more fragile than they thought, and so it's very complicated. You idiots who don't have medical degrees, you probably would have no idea. It's problematic, it's nuanced, it's so subtle. Okay, well look, I appreciate nuance and subtlety, but 3 years ago, we didn't have very much nuance and subtlety, did we? 3 years ago, this is what Dr. Fauci had to say.
When you get vaccinated, you not only protect your own health, that of the family, but also you contribute to the community health by preventing the spread of the virus throughout the community. In other words, you become a dead end to the virus. And when there are a lot of dead ends around, the virus is not going to go anywhere. And that's when you get a point that you have a markedly diminished rate of infection in the community.
I didn't see a lot of nuance or subtlety or complexity. I didn't. It seemed pretty clear to me that Dr. Fauci said, "Get the vaccine. You're a dead end for the virus. You don't spread it. Punto e basta. Period." And some of us at the time said, I bet it's probably a little more complicated than that. And I bet you're not actually a dead end for the virus. And I bet you will probably spread it. And we were called conspiracy theorists and idiots. And we were kicked off of YouTube in some cases. And we were told to shut up in our schools and our workplaces. We were called a threat to the public health. And Fauci yesterday admitted we were 100% right. And he was either 100% wrong or a liar. And I actually think the more charitable read on Dr. Fauci, who's no dummy, is that he's just a liar. And he lied. And now, 3 years later, when everyone kind of forgets and no one cares anymore and most people don't go back to take the time to pull up the old videos, he thinks he'll just get away with it. So that's what he says about transmission. What does he say about the efficacy of the vaccines generally? Here's what he had to say yesterday.
Was the COVID vaccine 100% effective?
I don't believe any vaccine is 100% effective.
Now, come on, listen here, Mr. Chairman. I would never, what are we talking about? It's all very nuanced and complex. I would never suggest that a vaccine were 100% effective. Okay, 3 years ago, roll the tape.
So although you don't like to see breakthroughs, the fact is this is one of the encouraging aspects about the efficacy of the vaccine. It'll either protect you completely against infection. If you do get infected, the chances are that you're going to be without symptoms, and the chances are very likely that you'll not be able to transmit it to other people.
You catch that word in there? There was one really important word there. He says, it'll protect you completely. Now, he says it in a really weird way that if you're paying attention to it, you realize it involves a contradiction. He goes, it'll either protect you completely or it won't protect you completely. Hold on. Wait. Well, then I guess it's not complete, huh? Complete means totally. So if there's a chance that it's not going to protect you, then it's not complete. But he uses that little rhetorical sleight of hand to give the impression, as he did many, many times during COVID, that this vaccine is totally effective. There's a great little video, I wish I had pulled it up, of Dr. Fauci guessing about the efficacy of the vaccine and giving it a numerical value. And you can see it goes, oh yeah, 90% effective, 89, 88, 87, 86. And it just, in different interviews, it just keeps going down and down and down. But that's the impression he wants to give, that it was totally effective. And listen, even if it's not completely effective, which I just said it was, it'll stop you from spreading it. It'll stop you from having symptoms. It'll do everything that it ended up not doing. What did Dr. Fauci have to say about the efficacy? Yesterday, he had to say what we all said 3 years ago, which was a conspiracy theory then, and it was for idiots then. Now it's a fact. Okay. My biggest takeaway from the testimony is not that Fauci is going to be held to account. It's not that he's going to lose his nice sinecure at Georgetown University. It's not that they're going to really get him. He's good. Okay, he was America's most powerful politician for like 2 years. This guy sat at the top of the NIH for decades. He was America's top politician scientist. He was a public scientist, so it means his job was half politics, half science. And he got away with it. He's really slippery. He, frankly, with some exceptions, I think Jim Jordan did a good job. There were a few GOP congressmen who did a pretty good job. But mostly Dr. Fauci ran circles around the members of Congress of both parties who are questioning him, because he is, no matter how good politicians those congressmen are, Fauci is better. That's how he sat atop that perch for so long. One last little moment of the testimony that I do have to highlight was Marjorie Taylor Greene, who just went off on this man. I wish I could include the entire 8-minute diatribe because it was extraordinarily entertaining. But the point that is probably the most audacious and many considered the least defensible of Marjorie Taylor Greene's diatribe is when she claimed that Dr. Fauci is not a doctor.
Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection. Objection.
I reclaim my time.
Gentlelady,
Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady will
Point of order.
suspend.
Mr. Chairman,
Point of order.
just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in
Gentlelady will
prison.
suspend. And the gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
I love the final conclusion here is, no, actually, if you wouldn't mind, Marjorie, he is a doctor, he has a medical degree. Marjorie says, no, the man's Mr. He doesn't even deserve to be called Mr., darn it. And everyone's attacking her because it was a bit of an eccentric diatribe, especially she started talking about Fauci experimenting on the dogs, and it was kind of all over the place. But I would like to be the sole voice coming to Congress Lady Green's defense here, which is that she makes a very important point on the meaning of the word doctor. This has been a running debate between me and my friend Ben Shapiro for some years now. Marjorie is right. Dr. Fauci is not a doctor. Dr. Fauci is a physician. He has a medical degree. He's a politician. He's worked in the bureaucracy for many decades, but he's not a doctor because doctor comes from a Latin word. The Latin word is doctor, and it comes from the verb docere, and it means teacher. So Dr. Fauci is a physician, but the only real doctors are the teachers, preschool up to graduate school. That's it. She's right. Sorry, folks. Etymology does not care about your feelings. Now, everyone is debating, did the virus come from a laboratory? Did the virus come from nature? I'm here to say, regardless of where that virus came from, we need to restore balance to nature and to your body. That's why you got to check out Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com, use promo code Knowles. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies is the most convenient way to get whole fruits and vegetables daily. They use an advanced cold vacuum process that encapsulates fruits and vegetables into whole food supplements without sacrificing their natural antioxidants. The capsules are completely void of additives, fillers, extracts, synthetics, pesticides, or added sugar. The only thing in Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules are fruits and veggies. With Balance of Nature, there's never been an easier way to ensure you get your daily dose of fruits and vegetables. Go to balanceofnature.com, use promo code Knowles, KNWLES, for 35% off your first order as a preferred customer, plus get a free bottle of fiber and spice. That is balanceofnature.com, promo code Knowles, KNOWLES. That is balanceofnature.com, promo code Knowles. And then when it comes, you can be like Mr. Davies at my office, and he'll go in, he'll take the Balance of Nature, all these hyenas, all these jackals around here just want to grab it. Well, you can get your own supply, balanceofnature.com, promo code Knowles. Speaking of getting away with it, Mercer County, Ohio. A clip goes viral yesterday out of I believe, Mercer County. It is still making rounds on the internet. It is because it is Pride Month. This is a drag queen, a fella. Now, you got to be responsible. That's why you got to check out Responsible Man. Go to responsibleman.com. Responsible Man, newest company from DailyWire Ventures, is dedicated to bringing you the best high-quality men's health products without the woke pile of garbage on top. Today, our modern diets are often deficient in key vitamins and minerals, leaving us feeling weakened and diminished. That is why we created the Emerson Multivitamin. It is physician-formulated, made with 33 premium ingredients, and designed for men. The Emerson Multivitamin has health benefits, including helping to fill nutrient gaps, maintaining energy production, sharpening brain cognition, and supporting the health of your heart and muscles. Your new daily multivitamin comes in a sleek, matte black aluminum tin. It's very, very cool and sexy. It is filled with smooth, easy-to-take green capsules. It is mint essenced for a refreshing vitamin experience. I consider myself to be mint essenced too, just in my very person and comportment. With Father's Day around the corner, there is no better time to invest in your health. The Responsible Man Father's Day sale is going on right now. Save 30% off the Emerson Multivitamin during this sale. ResponsibleMan.com. Facts don't care about your feelings, neither does your health. Go right now to ResponsibleMan.com. Take advantage of their 30% off sale. ResponsibleMan.com. The media would have you believe that Dr. Anthony Fauci saved our country during COVID-19. Most of us at this point suspect there's probably a little something more nefarious beneath the media's claims. In this limited series, Fauci Unmasked, I take you through the career of one of the most successful failures in American history, and I show you the real Dr. Fauci.
The confines of transmissibility now going to be loosening up and broadening up.
In essence, AIDS is a difficult disease to catch.
You can't isolate yourself from the rest of the world for the whole flu season.
I would like to see a dramatic diminution of the personal interaction that we see. Whatever it takes to do that, that's what I'd like to see.
The first episode is free on YouTube and DailyWire Plus, wherein I expose Dr. Fauci's first rise to fame, or should I say infamy, handling the AIDS crisis in the 1980s. When you understand how he handled HIV/AIDS, the Fauci that we know of COVID becomes much clearer. Make sure you go check it out, DailyWire Plus, today. Speaking of coming for you. Now, speaking of all sorts of crazy stuff and women, there is a woman who has just come out and explained on TikTok why men don't like her.
What do you mean you don't have a boyfriend? You're so pretty. What do you mean you have 0 men in your phone? What do you mean you've gone 8 months without... What do you mean? That makes no sense. Yeah, well, combine pretty with intelligent, strong, successful, slaying at life, you've got a very terrifying woman on your hands. A very not easy woman on your hands, right? Men don't like that. Men do not like me. Men are very, very terrified of me. And the men who do like me, the ones that are attracted to me, are unavailable. Men who are in relationships actively. And uggo weirdos. Because at the end of the day, I am merely just a fantasy. I am not a real human because of the pretty and scary. So yes, babe, I'm alone. I'm very, 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 very single.
Okay. Do you think she's right? Do you think that's why men rather don't like this woman? Because she's too pretty and she's too smart and she's too successful. This seems to me a little bit like a cope that sometimes you hear when you're a little kid, oh, the boys don't hit on you because they're intimidated by you or something like that, which is sometimes true, but sometimes it's not true. I know why guys don't like this girl. I'm going to take this girl's word for it that guys don't like her, and I'll tell you exactly why that's the case. And it's not because she's ugly. She looks fine. And it's not because she's intelligent. Men like intelligent women. As I mentioned earlier, my wife's a doctor. It's not that she's competent or capable or any of those things. But it is very fitting given what month this is. What would be off-putting about this woman to men is the pride. She's very, very prideful, and that's very off-putting. And she's probably even more prideful because she was lied to as a kid. And she was told, you have to be a boss babe and you have to behave just like a man. And that's what's going to give you a lot of success in life. You have to focus on your career to the exclusion of other things in life. You have to buy feminism, right? And so she did that. And then it didn't make her happy and guys didn't like her. And so she became resentful. Again, this is all psychobabble, but I'm taking her word for it. And I'm just looking at her behavior. And so she delves even more into this pride. Because what is pride? Pride is an excessive love of one's own excellence. She's like, I'm really smart, and I'm really hot, and I have a degree from Stanford or something. I don't know where she went to school. And men should like me, but they don't. Why don't they like me? It's because it's got to be their problem. It can't possibly be me. That's the problem. The problem is pride. Pride is a really big problem. And we're celebrating it this month, which tells you everything about the political situation of our country. Now, speaking of TikTok, Trump has joined TikTok. Trump was not on TikTok. He joined TikTok. Within 12 hours, he gained 1.4 million followers. He's up to millions now. Does anyone have the latest number? I'm calling into the control room here, phone a friend. 4.9 million. The guy's got almost 5 million Twitter followers now. Joe Biden has been on TikTok for 4 months. You know how many he had? When Trump had 1.5 million within 12 hours, Biden had 336,000. Not even, 335.6 thousand. Absolutely brutal. And people are going to say, well, it's because Trump is more popular. People are going to say, well, it's because Biden and the left can't meme. And okay, sure. But think about it one step removed. Is it any wonder that the Democrats want to ban TikTok? When the ban TikTok movement came about, I remember thinking, the first question I asked was, who does this benefit? Why are they pushing this now? In principle, I have no problem with us banning any social media platform, as long as it's done in the correct way that's in accordance with the law and the Constitution. But I have no problem banning a social media platform. But why TikTok and why now? And I couldn't help but notice there was a big push to ban TikTok right about the time that Joe Biden was being absolutely destroyed on TikTok, specifically for his handling of the Israel-Gaza war. And TikTok was becoming a huge political liability for Joe Biden. And then all of a sudden, there was a big movement to ban TikTok. There wasn't a big movement to ban Facebook because Facebook carries water for the Democrats. There wasn't a big movement to ban Instagram. There wasn't a big movement to ban, what are the other ones? MySpace, is that still around? I don't know. There was a big move to get advertisers to boycott Twitter because Elon Musk bought Twitter and Elon Musk is more favorable toward the Republicans. It's all just about political jockeying. And TikTok is good for conservatives right now. And TikTok is good for Trump right now. That is why the Democrats want to ban it. That's why I do not want to ban it, at least not before the election. Speaking of foreign things, Nigel Farage, the man who brought us Brexit, he's turning his attention away from the European Parliament, since he already got the UK to leave that, and he is now running for Parliament. He's got a party running for Parliament in the UK, and they're running against the Conservatives. Nigel Farage, a very conservative figure, is running against the Conservatives in the UK, known as the Tories. And why is that? The reason is because the Conservatives, quote unquote, in the UK, are super duper liberal. Oh, I wish we had. There's a great compendium of the Tories saying, we're the party of progress. We're the party of marriage equality. We're the party of taking on the environmental challenges. We're conservative. There was even, I seem to recall, some old tweet of the Conservatives saying, we're the party of the first gay representative. And the first, we're so conservative. Here's one they posted during Pride Month some years ago. It says, Britain is proudly a liberal force for the global LGBT equality. We want to go further. So our new special envoy for LGBT rights, so-and-so, will chair the UK's Safe to Be Me, a global equity conference. Love is love is love with all the rainbows. With conservatives like that, you don't need liberals. And so Nigel is running. It's not just, I mean, the Pride Month stuff is prominent now because it's June, but the Conservatives also have led to more migration. The Conservatives in the UK haven't really conserved anything at all. It's even worse than the Conservatives in America. They're even more liberal than the Conservatives here. So Nigel recognizes that people do want a genuine conservative alternative. The Brexit worked. All the establishment, including the Conservatives, thought it was crazy, but then it worked. And so he's saying, okay, I'm gonna run because no matter how much the establishment tries to throttle us, people are not going to be down with the radical social engineering. There are going to be a lot of people who don't want this mass migration, and I'm going to stand up for them. And that is the alternative people want. People want a choice, not an echo. Now, as a parent myself, I know the burning question that keeps us all up at night. Is anything that I'm saying actually getting through? Well, fear not, because this Father's Day, you can put those doubts to rest by getting your dad something from Jeremy's Razors, a company that shares your dad's values and speaks his language. Get 15% off at jeremysrazors.com with code DAD15. Let's talk about gift ideas. How about the Alpha Bundle? It's got Jeremy's radically redesigned second-gen razor, complete with one handle, 4 razor cartridges with that precision trimmer, shave cream, and post-shave balm infused with green tea and menthol, and a sleek travel case. But here's the important part. You need to order one today to to ensure it lands on Dad's doorstep in time for Father's Day. Log into jeremy'srazors.com now. Be sure to enter code DAD15 at checkout for 15% off today. My favorite comment yesterday comes from Opinionated. How come our war dead get a day set aside for them, but the gays get a month? Yeah, that's very strange. Isn't that very, very strange? Okay, there is so much more to say, but I'm going to ignore all of it until tomorrow because I got a better offer. And that better offer comes from a woman who needs absolutely no introduction. That would be the comedian of our era, someone who, I don't know why right now she's just giving me flashbacks to George Burns. That would be the one and only Roseanne Barr. Roseanne, thank you for coming on the show. And what is that in your mouth? Can I ask?
It's a cigar that you sent me. Thank you so much. When I was on Megyn Kelly's show, I found a cigar in the dressing room and I was really craving a cigarette, trying not to smoke. And so I just unwrapped this one and started chawing on it. And it released all this tobacco to help me with my craving. And you were so sweet. You sent me a whole box of these wonderful things. And so here I am. I think I am the new George Burns. I loved how he used the cigar to punctuate his jokes. So I've been playing that game like, I'm old now, and I can do it. It's a great prop. Plus it's delicious.
I am so glad. I felt so unchivalrous because when I saw you at the premiere out in LA for Bircham, you play the Principal Bortles on Bircham. It's a great show. Roseanne's performance, of course, is marvelous. You should all go watch it. But when I saw you, I got to tell you, Roseanne, I was a little bit starstruck, and I don't really get starstruck. I meet plenty of famous people, but I grew up watching your show. You are like the comedian of our age, and on top of that, you gave Norm Macdonald his first job in Hollywood, which bowled me over even more. And so it didn't even occur to me, though it should have, that you would smoke cigars. So I'm glad you got the box, and I'm very glad you're here. And I'm glad we got you this week because it seems like the entire American political system has collapsed. In the last 72 hours or so.
Yeah, definitely.
I assume you have a hot take on all of it, but maybe not. Maybe you say, forget about it. I don't want to deal with American politics.
Oh no, I live for it. I live for it right now because we're in history. We're in living history. And it's just fantastic. And I'm glad you said what you said in your opening. I'm glad that you bring a religious connotation to everything because I really think it's quite biblical. And, I study Torah. I'm a religious Jewish person. I'm kind of an unconventional religious Jewish person. And because I'm a free thinker, but I like that it seems that although it seems dark, and horrifying and a terrible miscarriage of justice, what's happened to President Trump, making a mockery of our judicial system, what they've done. And that's stunning and disappointing to all Americans who love our constitutional republic and our Constitution and everything that hangs on it. I always look at the bright side of things because of my faith and always know God's in charge of everything and that he does work in mysterious ways. And so I try to look at the bright side of it and go, this is so God moving in the world because if you look at it, it's that these people who are, really trying to destroy America. You know how Trump says they're not really after me, they're after you, and I'm just in their way? Well, America is all that stands in the way of their global one world Nazi government. So they're not really after America. They're after the entire world, and America is all that stands in their way, just like Trump says. But the silver lining in it is that these people are just exposing themselves in front of us. And I think that it's our job to witness it and let it register up here in the penthouse of thought. We have to witness it and not write it off, not explain it, not just call it political, because it's something greater than political. It's deeply spiritual. And to watch these people undo themselves with their arrogance, which the Bible says arrogance and ignorance are the exact same thing. They always go together. They're two sides of the same coin, and they undo the holder, the person who is arrogant, is always ignorant as well, and thinks they are getting away with something that they're not getting away with because they're exposing themselves. And this is part of the great awakening. People are seeing it, and this is a great, great thing that Americans are able to see it and register it and now do something about it. And Americans are doing something about it from the grassroots up, as every revolution starts at the grassroots, you know, and I think it's a revolution in thought and awareness. And as I say, the Great Awakening is followed by, or happens parallel to, the great unraveling. And these people are unraveling. As soon as they expose themselves, they unravel. And I think it is very biblical in that, because we don't have to do anything to cause their demise. They do it themselves. And all we have to do is witness it and, then talk to each other and begin. I think it's already begun, but jump on board this train of freedom, this train of truth, this train of the people, by the people, and for the people.
I love that observation, Roseanne, the observation about observation, which is we're called to witness these things. You know, their foot shall slide in due time. We're called to witness these things. It reminds me of, in the story of Jesus goes to the home of Mary and Martha, and, Mary is at his feet, listening, and Martha's going out, getting the lunch ready and busying herself. And there are signs of the active life versus the contemplative life. And Jesus says, Martha, your sister has the better part, that we're called primarily to interpret signs. It's a wicked generation that seeks signs and wonders, but we could also say a stupid generation ignores signs and wonders. We're the rational creature. The way we communicate is through signs and symbols. And I love it too, because it seems to me that is what a comedian does. A comedian looks around, observes things that other people don't see, or they're so caught up in their own heads, they just ignore. And then the comedian shines a light on that. I've got to take a pause here. We've got to kick out all the hoi polloi who aren't paying for the membership over at DW. We're going to head over to the Membroom Segmentum. Roseanne, do you have time to stick around?
Of course. And I have time to put in my fake tooth, which I forgot to put in.
Oh, that's all the better. Okay, Roseanne will be back with more teeth. I will be back as well. Go sign up now, dailywire.com, promo code Knowles. We will be right back in just moments.